Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leo Robinson. I am the longest-serving city councilor in Chelsea. I am announcing my candidacy for the state representative newly formed seat that has united all of Chelsea as well as portions of Everett. It is with great pride and honor that I enter this race, seeking to represent my lifelong hometown of Chelsea. I have dedicated my entire life to service and community. And I believe that this unique opportunity will allow me to continue giving back to the place I love to call home. Our next state representative needs to know the unique challenges facing this district and have the experience and the relationships necessary to deliver the results we so desperately need. For those of you who don't know me or my story, I am a lifelong Chelsea resident. After graduating from Chelsea High School, I attended Burdett College. I also served in the United States Army during the Vietnam War. And upon my return to the United States, I launched my career as a public servant. I started coaching basketball in the Chelsea Youth League. And prior to the reorganization of the Chelsea city government, was elected 2 terms as an alderman at large. And I then served on the Chelsea Board of Community Development and the Chelsea Housing Authority as a commissioner. I am currently a councilor at large and have served 5 terms as president of the council. I am the co-founder of the Lewis H. Latimer Society along with my brother Ron. I served on the board of directors and treasurer for the Chelsea Restoration Corporation and formerly the president of the Community Action Program Real Estate Board. Proudly, I coached the girls' basketball team at Pope John for 13 years. I served as an assistant athletic director and on the board of trustees at Pope John. I have served on the Boston Harbor Association Board of Trustees and was awarded the prestigious Paul Harris Award from the International Rotary and the Chelsea Rotary. Also was named the 2017 Chelsea Trailblazer Award and Resident of the Year in the year of 2002, All Chelsea Award, and the George Washington Medal of Honor by the Boy Scouts of America. Through the pandemic, Chelsea and Everett have had to fight longer and harder to receive the resources necessary to protect our friends and neighbors, and those battles to this day we continue when it comes to availability of vaccines and testing. As state representative, I will be the tireless advocate we need to finally break this cycle and begin to put the pandemic behind us. My priorities will also include expanding affordable and workforce housing and combating rising sea levels and climate change. Those have been my issues while serving on the council, and I will continue to work, looking forward, taking that necessary advocacy to the State House. One of my greatest accomplishments was creating the affordable zoning inclusionary zoning, which allows us to create more affordable housing in our community. We need to advocate pushing for reforms like this, and I will do just that as a state representative. Finally, Chelsea and Everett are widely impacted by a history of industrial activities as well as Logan Airport. This combined with rising sea levels puts huge swaths of Chelsea and Everett at risk. When elected, I will join my colleagues on Beacon Hill to support the investments necessary to protect our coastal communities and to fight climate change for future generations. My name is Leo Robinson, running for the newly created state representative seat in the 11th District. I'd appreciate your consideration in coming out on voting for me on Election Day. And thank you for your support in advance.
My name is Judith Garcia. I'm the daughter of a single mom, the daughter of a first-generation immigrant, the daughter of an essential worker. My name is Judith Garcia, and I'm a daughter of Chelsea. The city raised me. It gave me my most precious gifts: home, family, purpose, belonging. And it taught me my most valuable lesson. There's nothing more powerful than a community that knows how to fight for itself. Cities like Chelsea and Everett have been denied a seat at the table for far too long. I know it because I've lived it. I grew up playing in an empty lot because we did not have public parks. I went to public schools when we barely had enough teachers to cover classes. I've watched people I love flee the city as rents creep up and affordable housing disappears. And I was on the front lines as your city councilor when this community rallied together to battle the COVID-19 crisis. My city, your city, we've never had the luxury to have one of our own, someone who has walked in our shoes represent us. So we've learned to look out for ourselves. We've learned to take care of each other. We've built parks, cleaned our air, revived our schools, provided tests and vaccines, kept the people we love sheltered, safe, and fed. That unity is our superpower. Now, we have a once-in-generation chance to send someone to represent us at the State House, someone that will put our communities first. Not one group, one neighborhood, one political ideology or faith. All of us, Chelsea, Everett, and every other resilient, creative, working-class community in Massachusetts that refuses to settle for second-class treatment. This is our shot. My name is Judith Garcia. I am a city councilor, an activist, a public servant, a proud daughter of Chelsea. And I'm running to be your state representative. Mi nombre es Judith Garcia. Soy hija de una madre soltera. Soy hija de un inmigrante. Soy hija de una trabajadora esencial. Mi nombre es Judith Garcia y soy hija de Chelsea. Nací, crecí y me formé en Chelsea. Chelsea me ha dado mis regalos más valiosos, mi hogar, mi familia, mi sentido de pertenencia. Y me ha enseñado la lección más importante. No hay nada más poderoso que una comunidad que sabe luchar por sí misma. A ciudades como Chelsea y Everett se les ha negado un trato justo por mucho tiempo. Lo sé porque lo he vivido. Crecí jugando en un lote baldío porque no teníamos parques públicos. Asistí a las escuelas públicas cuando apenas teníamos maestros para dictar las clases. Y he visto cómo personas que amo han tenido que irse de la ciudad a raíz del alto costo de la vivienda y el aumento de las rentas. Y como concejal de la ciudad, estuve ahí, en primera línea, cuando Chelsea se unió para luchar contra la crisis que ocasionó el COVID-19. En el Estado nunca nos han dado el derecho de tener a un representante que ha caminado en nuestros zapatos. Por lo tanto, hemos aprendido a cuidarnos a nosotros mismos. Construimos parques, purificamos el aire, reconstruimos nuestras escuelas, conseguimos las pruebas de COVID y implementamos campañas de vacunación. A la vez, hemos mantenido a nuestra comunidad protegida y alimentada, juntos. Esa unidad es nuestra fortaleza. Ahora tenemos la oportunidad que nunca se nos había presentado antes de elegir a alguien que nos represente en el Congreso del Estado de Massachusetts para poner a nuestra comunidad en primer lugar. Una persona que nos represente a todos, no a un grupo o un barrio o una ideología política o fe, que nos represente a todos. Chelsea, Everett y cualquier otra comunidad resiliente, creativa y luchadora en Massachusetts que se niega a conformarse con un trato de segunda clase. Esta es nuestra oportunidad. Mi nombre es Judith Garcia. Soy concejal, activista, servidora pública y una orgullosa hija de Chelsea. Me estoy postulando para ser su representante estatal.
Hello, I'm Chelsea City Councilor Todd Taylor, and I'm running to be your next state representative in the newly formed 11th Suffolk, and I humbly ask for your vote. I moved to Massachusetts nearly 30 years ago to pursue a PhD program in history at Brandeis University. I've been a resident of Chelsea for over 20 years with my wife Regina, and we have 2 children, Alana and Finn. I own and operate a staffing company which has employed hundreds of Chelsea residents over the years. I'm a member of the Chelsea Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of the Chelsea Rotary Club, where I've also served as president between 2020 and 2022. I served on the Chelsea Planning Board for 5 years before being elected to the Chelsea City Council in 2019. Folks, our country and our state are in trouble. We need better leadership, more dynamic leadership. We need leaders with enough life experience to know how to be able to solve problems effectively, but with enough energy to work endlessly to make them happen. This district has some glaring problems, and those problems need to get solved. For instance, the housing crunch, the opioid crisis, a lack of mental health resources, not to mention inflation, the rising cost of living, especially food, rent, and gas prices. These aren't the only problems that we face. According to the 2020 census, about 60% of households in Chelsea make under $50,000 a year. We need to adopt policies that will help people move up to the next level. We need to be proactive problem solvers, not just throw money at problems and hope they'll go away. We need to empower people, not patronize them. We don't need to be ideological. We just need to be smart, work hard, and be responsive to people. I'm proud to say that I've proven to the people of Chelsea that I'm responsive to their needs. I worked tirelessly throughout the pandemic, delivering food to those in need with the Chelsea Pandemic Response Team. And while serving on the Chelsea City Council, I advocated for rental and business assistance for our residents. When confronted with overwhelming complaints from the public over fireworks going off during all hours of the night, I drafted and unanimously got passed a new ordinance that significantly reduced the problem. I always give out my cell phone number. I always advocate for people having a problem with the city. And even if they live in other districts when their own councilors aren't being responsive. Too many times our elected politicians become complacent, fall asleep at the wheel, or become used to working on the behalf of people who fund their campaigns. This is one of the best reasons to vote for me. I'm the only candidate in this race who is unconnected to other interests. I don't work for a union, I don't work for a local nonprofit, and I don't have the endorsement of the local political establishment. I derive none of my income from any outside organization, and I'm the only person who can be free to represent everyone in Chelsea equally. If you elect me, I won't be afraid to vote with Democrats when they have good solutions, but I won't be obligated to vote how the Speaker tells me to vote. All my opponents will. I'll be free to pursue the right solutions. And I have plenty of experience working with Democrats to find those solutions to our problems that make sense for everyone. Being a member of the majority too often makes our politicians complacent. We saw this recently in Chelsea when we got shortchanged with the federal ARPA funds because our federal officials were asleep at the wheel. Chelsea, a community that was devastated by the pandemic, only received a pittance while a community like Newton received 5 times as much. Thank God we had a Republican governor that made it right by taking Chelsea's ARPA dollars from $15 million to $40 million. By the way, if you like Charlie Baker, you're going to like Todd Taylor too. Being a Republican in a city that only has 5% Republicans, I'll never be able to rest on my laurels or take you for granted. I'll always know that I must work hard every single day for the people of Chelsea if I want to be reelected. No other candidate will be as engaged as I am. No one will work harder at solving people's problems or trying to make their lives better in a very real way. I will always be there for you. I make you this solemn pledge. I will always vote my conscience. I will never vote for anything that is unconstitutional. I will always try to empower everyday working people, especially parents, over the powerful. I will never support defunding our law enforcement. I will always support policies that create more economic opportunity for people so that they can move up the ladder. And finally, on all other issues, I will listen to you, my constituents, and vote for your interests. This is a race that I can win, but I need your help. Please visit www.toddforrep.com if you'd like to help or learn more about my campaign. Or you can just call me at 617-872-3174. I know that together we can make sure that Chelsea elects a hard-working leader with our values of honesty, integrity, and transparency. Thank you.
My name is Roberto Jimenez Rivera, and I'm running to be your next state representative. My wife Sarah and I chose Chelsea as our home because we wanted our kids to grow up hearing Spanish on the street and to grow up with people who share our values and our culture. But it's not right that in order to get those things, we would have to give up on having clean air, green space, and schools with enough resources. Chelsea and Everett deserve the high-quality education, clean environment, and accessible working infrastructure that wealthier suburbs have. I'm fighting to keep our community from getting pushed out by greedy developers, to protect our land and our water from corporate polluters, and to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to grow deep roots in our community. I came to the States looking for opportunities, just like so many of us. When I was 18, I left Puerto Rico with a scholarship to come here for college, but I struggled to keep up with some of my wealthier classmates. In the end, I graduated, and I started my career in education because I wanted to create an easier path for students like me. Students from under-resourced schools, students who spoke English as a second language, and students who were just adapting to a new culture. Then I got elected to school committee. I advocated for Chelsea and for Everett to get millions of dollars in new funding for our schools. But then the pandemic started, and the legislature put those funds on the chopping block. So I organized over 100 elected officials from across the state to call out this injustice, and we got our money back. As a union organizer, I advocated for all immigrants to have access to driver's licenses, to improve our transportation systems, and to keep essential workers safe from COVID. I've learned how to work within the system to get legislation passed, and I know how to organize people so that we can achieve our shared goals.
Roberto es una persona de confianza, una persona que trabaja para la comunidad, no trabaja para beneficio de él.
Roberto shows up when it matters, not just when it's convenient. He understands the importance of building community and has been an ally during some of our biggest fights. Roberto is the leader we need right now, and I trust him to represent us at the State House.
It's time for us to create a district where our families, our elders, and our children can thrive. A district with clean air, excellent schools, and where everyone feels safe in their homes without the fear of being pushed out. This election is our opportunity to have a seat at the table. We need someone who's going to be a leader, advocating for our people and our future. I'm Roberto Jimenez Rivera, and I'm asking for your vote for State Representative on September 6th. Thank you.
Soy Roberto Jimenez Rivera y quiero ser tu próximo representante estatal. Mi esposa Sara y yo decidimos vivir en Chelsea porque queríamos criar nuestros hijos en una comunidad donde puedan escuchar español en la calle, con gente que comparte nuestra cultura. Pero no es justo que para tener esas cosas tengamos que renunciar a tener aire limpio y escuelas con suficientes recursos. La gente de Chelsea y Everett se merecen la educación de alta calidad, el ambiente limpio y la infraestructura accesible que tienen las comunidades con más recursos y más dinero. Yo estoy luchando para que no nos sigan empujando fuera de nuestra comunidad, para proteger nuestro ambiente y para asegurar que todos tenemos la oportunidad de establecer raíces profundas en la comunidad. Yo vine a los Estados Unidos en busca de oportunidades, al igual que muchos de nosotros. A los 18 años me fui de Puerto Rico con una beca para venir a la universidad. Fue muy difícil, pero logré graduarme y comencé mi carrera en educación porque quería crear un mejor futuro para estudiantes como yo, estudiantes que hablan inglés como segundo idioma y estudiantes que se están adaptando a una nueva cultura. Luego me uní al comité escolar de Chelsea. Abogué para que Chelsea y Everett recibieran millones de dólares en nuevos fondos para las escuelas. Pero entonces comenzó la pandemia y la legislatura decidió cortar esos fondos. Así que organicé a más de 100 oficiales electos a través de todo el estado para denunciar esta injusticia y logré que nos devolvieran nuestro dinero. Ahora también trabajo para un sindicato, luchando para que todos los inmigrantes tengan acceso a licencias de conducir, para mejorar nuestro sistema de transportación y para mantener a nuestros trabajadores esenciales protegidos del COVID. He aprendido cómo trabajar dentro del sistema para pasar leyes y lograr nuestras metas.
Roberto es una persona de confianza, una persona que trabaja para la comunidad, no trabaja para beneficio de él.
Roberto shows up when it matters, not just when it's convenient. He understands the importance of building community and has been an ally during some of our biggest fights. Roberto is the leader we need right now, and I trust him to represent us at the State House.
Es hora de crear un distrito donde nuestras familias puedan tener prosperidad. Esta elección es nuestra oportunidad para tener una voz que nos represente. Necesitamos un líder que defienda a nuestra gente y nuestro futuro. Soy Roberto Jimenez Rivera y le pido su voto para representante estatal en la elección del 6 de septiembre. Muchísimas gracias.